Always remember, no matter what, do not stand directly in front of somebody. You're leaving yourself extremely exposed. Just off-center yourself. Odds are most people are being right-handed. I close the gap to what most people's heaviest strike is that they carry, and that's their right hand. My name is Uli. I'm originally from South Africa, been living in the US since '99. Started jiu-jitsu in, I guess, 2005, 2006. Got my black belt in 2015 or 16, somewhere around there. Anyway, I'm with Alliance, been with Alliance the entire time. My 9 to 5 is kind of a 9 p.m. to a 5 a.m. I work in the nightclub industry. I've been involved in the bar and nightclub industry for over 25 years. So I've had a lot of on the job training. Jiu-jitsu has been amazing for it. And this is just kind of a little self-defense technique that absolutely anybody can use. You don't have to be, it's got nothing to do with your physical size or anything. It's purely just a logical mentality thing on behavioral situations that you encounter in most people. There's a psychology behind every situation. Every one of us has a personal space, even best of friends. You know, this is comfortable. We know each other, we're buddies, you know what I mean? It's comfortable. There's nothing, there's nothing odd about it. But even Alec and I being as close friends as we are, if I come and stand and start talking to Alec like this, there's already something naturally in him, an instinct that's going on, this is kind of odd, this doesn't feel right, you know what I mean? I'm in his personal space. All of a sudden that temperature rises. I can literally be the fastest, the best fighter in the world, but if I walk right up in front of Alec, the easiest thing for him to do in a quick basis is just put his hands out and shove. And now you're off balance, you could fall back, hit your head, trip. I never approach directly on. I never allow anybody, I never stand directly in front of somebody, and I never allow them to square me up. So the easiest way to take yourself out of a vulnerable position and to lower the temperature of the situation is say now that's his center line. All I've got to do is just step off his center line. So now, his personal space is typically directed this way, all right? So we've lowered that temperature. And also by me just taking a step to the side, I've also taken away a bit of time if he wanted to, in that, like the situation that I spoke about, is push me. If he wants to push me in this situation, he actually has to change his body before he can push. So most people would have to turn and then push. And that allows me multiple opportunities to either get away from that situation or handle that situation, because it's giving me the split second I need to recognize that he's actually trying to do something of force against me. So as soon as Alec makes a movement like he's going to turn, I get to turn too. By not throwing a strike, not being involved, but just merely stepping, I've actually got myself out of a very vulnerable position, and I can continue to make these adjustments to the point where it almost started to look like we were waltzing. If it got to a point where you actually needed to subdue the person or prevent any further violence by actually using a physical nature of yourself, as soon as I take this step off over here, most people are right-handed. So now I'm close to his most dangerous weapon. Sure, I know there's a lot of guys out there with dangerous left hands, don't, you know what I mean? I'm not saying anything about the lefties and the southpaws, of course, you guys are dangerous. But I'm just talking about in a situation where you're just trying to put yourself in the most advantageous position on the street of somebody you don't know. Now, the two things I can do from this is, like you said, as soon as I move here, I can put my hand on his shoulder, which in most cultures is a kind of like, hey, I'm just trying to take it easy or whatever. What I'm actually doing is I have my left hand close to my face, which allows, to kind of defend any type of strikes maybe from that side. But at the same time here, I've got my hand on his most dangerous weapon. In order for him to use this dangerous weapon, the first motion that he needs to do is actually draw it back. Most guys will pull back if they're going to throw something. So with my hand over here, if Alec pulls back, all I've got to do is simply slide down a little bit and put my hand behind his elbow. Alec, pull your hand back with my hand behind your elbow. It's pretty hard. So again, in this situation, there, step to the side. Hey man, don't want nothing. Or you don't even have, like I said, some people, don't want to be in touch. You can just be like, in most times, this is a gesture of, hey, no, you know what I mean? It looks like a peaceful gesture, but I'm actually in a way of protecting myself. And then if I, like you said, if I can see the guy's kind of coming along, but I'm still not quite sure, I can put my hand on his shoulder and be like, hey man, no problems or whatever. But what I'm actually doing is I'm trying to feel, and the twitch, if there's any twitch, if he's tightening up or anything, that usually means a strike or whatever. And like I said, now I have somewhat control over his arm. In order for him to generate real power from his arm, he's pretty much going to want to draw it back, and I can actually just stop that drawing it back. Now I feel he's getting aggressive or whatever, and he's trying to draw this arm back. Just by driving that arm, I can actually steer him in this situation, come back, and then, like I said, using, if you train in any type of martial arts or wrestling or whatever, just as I get there, that allows me to get to his back. And I can start to control him that way. Like I said, most times, self-defense, get yourself away from the situation, try and exit as far as you can with minimal exposure and risk to yourself. It's a super logical thing, a lot of people don't do it. Always remember, no matter what, do not stand directly in front of somebody. You're leaving yourself extremely exposed. Just off-center yourself. Odds are most people are being right-handed. I close the gap to what most people's heaviest strike is that they carry, and that's their right hand. So I always just stand there, and like I said, as soon as they make an adjustment, make a tiny adjustment, but make it so subtle that they don't even realize, and and the whole time in your head you can be like, if I wanted to, I could do this, 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 and this. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of fun to have in cocktail parties and all that kind of thing, and you'll get to understand. It's a great experiment with our body language that we all possess.
All right, Bulls, thank you.
Oops, my bro.
All right, guys. Thanks to Uli for showing some great techniques. Until next time, peace out.
Peace.
Peace. And ciao. Thanks, buddy.
That should be kind of fun.